Good day everyone, my name is Julian Marie Raboy and I'll be the one to explain our study's rationale. COVID-19 has upended societies and dramatically altered everyday life across the globe. A lot of people feel the struggles and how it affects our daily lives. We have been battling this phenomena throughout this year now, but still we're not able to surpass the unforeseen circumstance. Assuring the qualities provided in rapidly expanded online programs is important to ensure the student retention, maintain accreditation, and create a positive reputation.
So our study is anchored by two different theories. The first one is the self-efficacy theory, which was proposed by Albert Bandura in the year of 1977, and the second theory is the person-environment fit theory by Jeffrey Edwards, Robert Kaplan, and Arvin Harrison, which they published at around the year of 1998. So the sole reason as to why we chose these two theories is because their themes or that their aims really fits to our study. So let's start off with the self-efficacy theory, which is our first theory of the theoretical background. So the self-efficacy theory focuses on the relationship between the person and their mindset, or let's say their perceptions and their perspective towards their own capabilities if they're put in a prospective situation. So for an example, if a person is put in a specific situation, will their performance change because of the pressure due to the fact that they are put in that certain situation? So it aims to believe that this theory, or it aims to believe that the person's mindset and that their perception towards their own capabilities and their abilities as an individual will really affect their performance of how they can do their job, because they're put in a let's say in a different situation. So the reason as to why this correlates to our study is because, first and foremost, considering that online learning is a very new alternative to many students, so this really does affect their performance, because not only is online learning not only is online learning unfamiliar to many students, but students themselves are very much used to the traditional face-to-face classes. And if we try to look at it, these two alternatives or these two mode of learnings are really different to one another. Face-to-face classes has much more traditional ways of spreading erudition to students, and on the other hand, online classes is much more advanced, or let's say is much more technological when you compare it to face-to-face classes. So this theory connects to our study, because how will the students perform their academic performance if given that they're in a situation where we're in a pandemic, and that we now have a new mode of learning as an alternative, so that not only our safety will be ensured, but also our education will still thrive and continue on. So the next theory is the person environment fit theory. Unlike the self-efficacy theory, the person environment fit theory it mostly centers around the relationship between the individual and their environment. So in a nutshell, how does a person perform, or how does a person do their job based on their environment, based on their surroundings? So the person environment fit theory just basically states that a person might experience maverick if their surroundings are not comfortable for them, if those surroundings, or if the environment that they are in is not good for them, then their performance might be negatively affected. So to put it simply, this correlates to our study, because first and foremost, now that we students are now engaging on online classes, it is no surprise that our new workplace for our education is just under the roof of our homes. So our environment for education, or our environment for learning, has changed. So that will definitely affect the students' performance, and how they will engage with their learning as well, or with their education rather. So, and also because of that, because of the fact that we are now in an environment that is because of the fact rather because of the fact that our new learning environment is just within the premises of our home, this results to the lack of physical peer and mentor presence. So because of that, students might, let's say, might experience mental health problems because they cannot interact with their peers that much well, and they can only interact with them through means of social media. So ultimately, these theories aims to really understand the essence of how a student performs given the situation and the environment that they're in. And this also really does let's say really does aim for the transformation of a student in online learning. And to and on a final note, online classes is not an easy alternative of learning because it is hard for both students and teachers as well. But this also gives us a chance on how to look ways that can still help us build a certain community within a virtual learning experience. So that is all. Thank you.
Disadvantages in online learning. Broderick 2012 stated that although flexibility is indeed a great advantage in online classes, procrastination is the biggest constraint that students face. It is concluded in a study that students are taking advantage of their time due to the fact that they are not in a physical school environment. With that, students are more likely to be doing something else during online lectures without the teachers knowing.
The review of the literature for this study focuses on the experience of students in online class, the advantages, disadvantages, and the effects on students. Copying strategies. Question captured information about student lives during COVID-19 outbreak. Action to control anxiety and what students care about during the pandemic. The result shows that students report that copying strategies and survival techniques were necessary due to high level of anxiety and depressions.
Statement of the problem. The main purpose of this study is to determine the lived experience of senior high school, University of Cebu main campus, academic year 2020 and 2021. Especially this response of the following question. What are the advantages of online classes? 2. What are the disadvantages of online classes? 3. What are the challenges that students face this engage in their online classes? 4. What are the coping strategies for students when they're facing these challenges?
The generalization of this present study would be a great contribution to the vast knowledge concerning the experience of the students in online class, especially to the following. Students. Findings are highly significant and beneficial to students who are currently enrolled in online class. Teachers. They would be more aware of the experiences and the struggle of the students in online class. Thus, this will give them a better insight on how to approach students, assist them on the things that they need to be enlightened on, and guide them towards a better experience in online class.
Hi everyone, good morning. I am Sam Christine Canasa and I am one of the researchers. We have here scope and delimitation. Scope and delimitation. This study focuses on the lived experiences of students with online learning at the University of Cebu Senior High School Department for the school year 2020 to 2021.
So for the research methodology, this content deals with the standardized methodologies used in the study. This discusses the research design, local, respondents, instrument, and the collection and analysis procedure. So for the research design, this qualitative study uses a phenomenological approach towards the online learning experiences of senior high school students from University of Cebu. Phenomenology is uniquely positioned to help with health professions education, or the HPE scholars, learn from the experiences of others. Phenomenology is a form of qualitative research that focuses on the study of an individual's lived experience within the world. For the research local, the research was conducted at the University of Cebu Main Senior High School building on J. Alcantara Street. It has over 49 courses and offers strands in senior high school department such as STEM, UMS, ABM, GAS, and TVL. It has about 40,000 students enrolled in online classes in school year 2020-2021. For the research in 4 months, the participants for this study will be students that are enrolled for their online classes at the University of Cebu Main Campus Senior High School Department. This research uses snowball sampling method as the research pick participants to recruit other participants for this study.
Good day, everyone. I'm Irish Grace's Combis, and I'll be the one to report research instruments. The researchers use a semi-structured interview questionnaire to gather the necessary data. A semi-structured interview is a meeting in which the interviewer does not strictly follow a formalized list of questions. Instead, they will ask more open-ended questions, allowing for a discussion with the interviewee rather than a straightforward question and answer format. By Doyle, 2020.
Definition of terms. So the terms are operationally defined based on how they are used in the study. So we have here advantages are a condition or circumstance that puts one in a favorable or superior position. Coping strategies are psychological patterns that individuals use to manage thoughts, feelings, and actions that will help them solve or overcome a certain problem.
So in this chapter, we will be presenting our major themes. So we, the researchers, actually extracted 8 major themes from the interview that we conducted before. So those 8 major themes are self-satisfaction, time management, connection loss, poor academic performance, psychological factors, personal factors, and the other one is the prioritization, and the last one is attitude. So in each major themes, actually, we supported or we used 1 to 2 statements from our respondents as a way of solidifying our major themes. So for the, let's say, with the time management, if we try to look at this one, this is a crucial aspect of online learning. And it was said in our interview from one of our respondents that time management is actually somehow a good factor in online class because they're able to balance their work and academic life. For an example, they're able to balance both household chores and schoolworks. And the other factor or major theme here is the self-satisfaction. Self-satisfaction, the sub-theme for this is the convenience. Convenience because according to one of our respondents, which is informant number 1, in her line 81, she mentioned about online class as a convenient or as a, let's say, one of the most decent alternatives of education. Because of online class being an alternative in our learning, it's, let's say here that it ensures the safety of our students because of the fact that the environment for their learning is now held within the premises of their own homes. Now let's move on to the psychological as a theme for the challenges that students undergo through or encounter in their online learning experience. Psychological, the sub-theme for this is mental health. We all know that mental health is such a broad topic. And in mental health, especially in the context of online learning, students aren't able to perform well in their academics due to the fact that their unstable mental health is getting in the way of letting them finish their schoolworks. Because of the lack of physical presence of both peers and mentors, the students cannot really focus, or they cannot really engage with other peers because their learning environment is just under the roof of their own homes. And that also puts a lot of extra pressure for them because they realize that it is only up to them, or that they only have themselves when it comes to really working with their schoolworks. And therefore that really does lead to unstable mental health because they also have limited and constricted access of interacting with their friends.
Chapter presents the summary of findings, conclusions, and recommendation. So first is the summary of findings. So the study revealed the following findings. Number 1 is positive factors of online learning, flexible schedule, safer premise due to COVID-19 pandemic, and third is ability to manage time. Second is the observed negative effects of online learning. First is internet connections problems, second is lack of mobile gadgets, and third is psychological factors compromised by unstable mental health. Number 3 is student strategies in coping with online learning challenges are: first is having a backup date, recreational activities, and last is practicing patience. So these three are the summary of findings. So let's move on to conclusion. So based on the findings, the following conclusion is drawn. Every day, students encounter problems in their online experiences, and it is most commonly about internet connectivity. And with that, students sometimes aren't able to catch up with their studies because they cannot enter the meet due to poor connection, which ultimately leads to them having a low grades and late submissions of tasks.